Hello and welcome. I'm Caroline Boyd, the Director of Government Programs at Meritalk. I'm here today with Bob Osborne of ServiceNow. Bob and I spoke recently about how agencies are modernizing risk management. We're here today to continue that conversation and talk a little bit about how modernizing risk management and crisis response with automation can be done. Bob, welcome back.
Well, thanks a lot for having me back. It's been a great conversation previously, and I'm looking forward to what we talk about today.
We're all learning a lot about how to better use technology during this pandemic. And I hesitate to say there's a bright side, but if there is a crash course in preparedness for future crises like this one of them?
It really has illuminated some challenges that agencies have that were perhaps unanticipated. But at the same time, most agencies have had a strategic plan for digital transformation in place for a number of years. They've been at various stages of maturity of developing and delivering that transformation, that capability, if you will, based upon budget, based upon the level of technical difficulty that they had created in their legacy environments in adapting and moving into the new type of technology, such as a platform approach that we discussed previously. So what we see is this COVID-19 challenge has really driven to accelerate what the agencies have already been planning. So while some of it is new, and there are a few new twists, like not being able to bring people into work in their office was a pretty big twist and a change for most agencies, they have the technology piece already roadmapped for the most part.
How can automation and artificial intelligence improve organizational readiness to meet future challenges? And what needs to be in place to do so?
What we're seeing is a real technology revolution in the utilization of supervised machine learning and artificial intelligence, particularly in the role of virtual assistants and contextual information that is supporting human decision making. As we talked in our last segment, this type of a platform approach and the platform that we carry around with us all the time in our pocket or our purse really has changed our expectations of how we do things in our daily lives. We're used to having information presented to us with context around that so that we can make a fully informed decision based upon the outcomes that we're trying to drive in specific applications on our personal platforms. At work, we've had a different challenge. We've had legacy systems that don't have that technology embedded within them. So we don't have that capability of aggregating information that have context to whatever the challenge is that we're trying to solve. It's left up to human beings to be the data miners, the data aggregators, to do the analysis and then make the appropriate decision or take the proper action based upon what we've learned ourselves. And our ability to do that and the time that we have to actually do that has really limited our effectiveness as individuals. So when we move toward this platform approach, like the ServiceNow platform with an embedded supervised machine learning and artificial intelligence capability, what we have done is taken the same type of an architectural approach as this platform, aggregating data from a multitude of systems of record, normalizing that data into a common repository so that the machine learning scripts can actually work on those. And then when we work in the applications on the platform, we actually get contextualized information presented to us that's pulled from all those other systems without us having to do that. So instead of us or me as a user having to understand which system has what information, how to get into that system, pull it out, aggregate it, and then make a decision, that's all done for me with contextual awareness.
Can you tell us about one of your customers that has taken this path?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a major DoD customer who's actually utilizing this in the human resources realm, which is really applicable to the challenges that we see today with the COVID-19 crisis. When we're still having to hire people, we're still having people who are retiring or leaving organizations, and we have to deal with that. And what we were able to do is when you take this platform approach that leverages a native embedded machine learning and artificial intelligence capability with a virtual assistant capability, what you're able to do is move from, by using citizen or human-centric engineering principles, from a reactive method of the individual who needs a service has to go in and log in and register and say, hey, I need this particular service, fill out a form, and then a process goes into work, and then that request is answered. And depending on the maturity of the workflow and the agency that's doing that request determines the amount of time to respond and answer that query. By utilizing machine learning and artificial intelligence, not only can we understand the population that's going to be requiring specific services, but actually anticipate the workload that's going to be happening seasonally so that we can anticipate that going forward. And that's what we see this particular agency doing. They're utilizing the platform to understand how many folks are going to be recruited in this particular period of time. So how many people do we need to have on board? What capabilities do we need in that supply chain of people, if you will, all the way to the folks who are retiring. So this allows the people in what we call the mid-office who are actually doing the work, from the people who require a service, I'm going to join the military, I'm going to retire from the military, all the workflows in between that, to actually solving and answering that and delivering that capability to the end user, is being used today by identifying the workflow, allowing automation to do all of the features and functions of that workflow as possible, and reserving the decision-making of the human only where it's required. And then with contextual information provided around that, it allows them to make the best possible decision.
Is this the time to get started right now? What are some good first steps for agencies?
There's never a better time. Regardless of where our customers and our prospects find themselves in their transformation journeys, to increase the capabilities to deliver better services to their constituents, or deliver the missions that they're responsible to do. We meet them wherever they are in their technology journey. They could be just starting out. How do I automate processes? How do I understand all of the different technologies that I have? What's the state that they're in? You know, are they all secure? Are they creating risk for me? And then we can create a roadmap with them that allows them to make that transformation journey in a very logical way that can actually be included in their POM process, in the budgeting process, so that each year they know which phase that they can go through to actually deliver this outcome, which we refer to in ServiceNow as getting to a state of anticipatory government. It's where we really understand what our constituents are going to need before they need it. We can send them alerts, links to the different processes that they need to engage with, workflows, reports, or different things that are required as part of logging in and creating a form, for example, are all available ahead of the time. So it totally changes that user experience for the customers and for the people in the agencies who are delivering those services.
Bob, thanks so much for being with us today. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.
It's been my pleasure. Again, I hope everyone's doing really well during this time of challenge. It was great talking to you.